Alright, hello and welcome back to another tutorial in Maya. Today we will look at some grass, or basically controlling the fur. Now this is the grass preset that you'll find in Maya, and it's sort of under the fur attributes, and it's a fur description. And what you can see here is we have another plane where I sort of created another pseudo grass kind of effect. And right now I am this render right here was made in Mental Ray, and I have the physical sun and sky system going, and it took about, as you see down here at the bottom, it took about 6 minutes to render just one frame. So you can see where, getting into using fur, especially when you have a real high density in any given area and you have a couple of different fur descriptions going on for a large space, you could run into some quite long render times. So anyway, for the most part, we're just going to be staying with Maya software rendering, and I kind of want to show you the technique of how to control your grass. And what you see here is just the word grass that I made an image, an IFF image in Photoshop, and basically just applied the grass to that, to the properties of that file. So it's a real cool technique. It's real useful for lots of different things, especially if you have some grass stuff going on. I think I was going to call this crabgrass, but anyway, you get the idea. So let me show you kind of what's going on in the project right now. Here's my plane, and basically that's all I have going on is just a plane. And I have the physical sun and sky system going now, but I'm going to switch back over to Maya software. And let's see, we'll stay in Maya software, and let's just take the settings to, let's just do production quality. And I'm going to come down here and sort of change mine up a little bit. In the comments section, I think I'll just stay with a preset of like 640 by 480. And that'll just make it render just a little bit quicker. So we'll go and take a quick render and see where we're at. All right, there it is. Okay, nothing special, but you can see where it's basically just two different grass selections. So we're going to start, and I'll show you the process of creating this. But before we go there, let's maybe take our render view, move it over here. And I want you to be aware of the fact that if this is one of your first tutorials for me, just go over to my YouTube page. A lot of times I get questions about stuff, and there's usually a tutorial that covers, most common basic usage, kinds of tasks, because I'm all about concepts. And so if you go over to my actual page and look at the uploads, there's about 85 or 86, 87 tutorials there now. So go over to my actual YouTube page and check there first to see if any of your questions can be answered. And I got all of them uploaded right here from basically the first to where we're at now. So there we go. So after you're done with that, make sure that you check in with Dr. Lester Banks almost on a daily basis because he's out there finding good stuff for your brain. He finds good Maya tutorials, After Effects. He's added, Blender and some other stuff to his site. So go check that out regularly. It's always changing and it's always good. And thanks, Lester, for picking me up every now and then. So that's cool. All right, so we're done with that. We're done with that. Let's start a new project. I think what I'll do is just go to Maya here, and we'll do a file, and we'll just go to new scene. I don't need to save that. And let's just create a polygon real quickly here. I'll do a polygon and maybe just a polygon plane. All right, so create a simple plane. All right, and there it is. Now I'm using a polygon here because this shows you that you can use fur with polygons as well, but polygons can be a little bit more problematic when they're part of a model or something like that, when you have overlapping UVs, and your UVs need to be really laid out correctly to be anywhere accurate with the fur. So anyway, just so you're aware of that. So here we have a simple plane, and that's cool. And all we need to do now is just make sure you're in your rendering menu set, And also make sure that your shading, that you might have hardware texturing turned on. Make sure you turn on your textures because we're going to want to see what's happening in here. And there you go. So I think I might even turn on my lines there. All right. So once you're there, also go to your window, go to your settings preferences, go to your plugin manager, and make sure, where's my plugin manager? There it is. Make sure that your Maya Fur bundle is in there. Mine's called Fur Bundle in 2011. It might be a little different for 2010 or 2009. I don't know, but anyway, just make sure it's checked there in your plugin manager. Okay. And now we're good to go. So I'm going to come up here into the fur and attach a fur description. And basically I'm just going to go for a new fur description, and I'll just sort of, boom, there it is. Okay, well you can see where the fur pops up. These are little locators telling you kind of where the fur is going. And that's cool. So you'll see that the plane is selected at the moment, and what we're really interested in is this fur description 1 over here in our attribute editor. So I'm going to click on that and change this fur description 1 to like maybe just like grass covering or grass cover or something like that. Give it a name real quick so we know that that's going to cover our whole base. All right. And I may want to bring up the map width and height to something more like, say, 512. I don't know, the higher you go up, the more render time it's going to take you. So anyway, I think I'm good to go with that. And we'll do a quick render. I'm going to bring over the render view, and we'll kind of go through a lot of these renders real quick. I'm going to see what we have here. I think I'll just delete these images in there. Okay. And we'll take a quick render of what we have now. And there it is. It doesn't look too good. It's kind of scraggly. It's kind of Okay, well let's fix that real quick. What we want to do is actually, let's just leave that alone for a minute. Okay. We want to bake some baldness maps in here. So let's take this fur description right here and look at what we can do at the moment to maybe say get it to look a little better. Let's come over, because you have your grass cover selected, go to your feedback shape, and we'll switch this up to like 128 by 128. And that just lets us see a little bit better about what's going on, how we're sculpting this stuff and all that. So that's cool. All right. Well, here's the deal where we're going to assign that word, or we're going to control this grass with a picture, basically. So I'm going to do another render view real quick here. We're going to see what that looks like. All right, it looks okay. It doesn't look all that good, but we'll sort of leave it there. We might be able to pump up the density a little bit. It's at 1,000 now, so feel free to maybe pump it up to like 10,000 or something just to get started. Do another quick render, and there we go. It's just a default kind of setting, and we'll make it look a lot better. So now that we got that, let's look at what we have to do in order to bake or to assign that text to this surface. I'm going to come over here into the baldness attribute, and you want to right mouse click on there, and we want to create a new texture, okay, in this fur description. And this texture is going to be a normal 2D texture, and it's just a picture basically, and that picture is of a file that I have called, let's see here, it's on my desktop, and it's called deep fried something or other. Oh no, it's grass. There it is. It's this grass black and white.iff file. All right, I'm just going to hit open, and you'll come into your hypershade, and you'll notice where you'll have a 2D placement node right there, and then you'll have your file node. But we know that the file is attached to there right now, but we need to actually give it a surface to rest on. So I'll go ahead and create a Lambert, and we'll bring it over there, and then just, you know, middle mouse button on your file right here, or select your file, middle mouse button, there it is. Let's select middle mouse button, drop it on top of the Lambert, and attach it to the color channel. All right, we're good to go. So I'm going to come over here and basically select my plane, okay? And right now, let's just make sure it's highlighted, and then go ahead and right mouse click, go down, and we're going to assign that existing material, that Lambert number 2 that we just created, okay? And you can see where it showed up there. It is in there, but it's not really doing that much, or it's not doing what we expect at the moment. So that's cool, because really we're done with the process. Anything that's white will stay, and anything black will get kind of deleted. So in order to do that, make sure that you're on your bake attribute baldness setting. We want to be working with this baldness factor, all right? And then just hit bake. And if all goes well, if all goes well, you'll see that it kind of took shape to that area, which is really cool. All right. So now we have that. Let's try something. Let's actually select our fur description. I'm going to deactivate that plane and just see if I can grab that grass description. Okay. Here's our grass cover. And what I want to do is I'm going to basically switch this over into a preset. And I want to take whatever we created here, and we want to use the preset of grass in this case. Now it works with anything. I mean, you can set any of these these fur properties for what you're doing. So I'm just using grass in this case. So I'll hit replace. All right. Well, wow. We have grass, and that's what it looks like. But you'll notice that, if I do a render, it's not really what I expect. I'm going to do a render here real quick. And inside of Maya, this is just, it's just a preset. So, this is kind of what's happening. Now, I can tell that I don't have enough in there really, and that it's all over the place over here. And technically, you'd think that you could come in and sort of paint this with your edit tool, and I'll show you what happens when you do that. And logically you would think, well, I'm gonna have to get rid of all of this stuff, and how am I gonna do that? And normally the way you work with a baldness map or a map is you come to your fur and you want to paint your fur attributes, and if you make sure you always click on your square there, and you should get your tool settings. Should come up over here for you or something, I don't know, and you'll get two windows, one that looks like this, one that looks like this. And in this case, my fur attribute that I want to be working with is baldness, and my fur description that I'm working on is that grass cover. So that's cool. I may want to set this up to 512, just to kind of make my maps consistent, but like I said, you can always do larger and just cost you more render time. So anyway, that looks pretty good. And if I bring this over here, you can see the radius of my tool there is about there. And you would think that I could basically add or paint black over that hair. If I bring my value down to 0 and hit replace right here, make sure replace is checked, I could paint black over and technically erase this stuff. So I can go ahead and try that, and it's not going anywhere. It's not erasing, it's not doing anything. And the reason is because this grass is a preset, and it has some built-in characteristics that we can't really change by painting over. Okay, so let me show you how to get rid of this unwanted grass, and that will sort of solve one of the major problems of doing something with this technique. So let's do this. I'm going to take these away. And we're going to come over here, and if your tool is still active, just hit WE, just deactivate it, hit W, something on the keyboard, and now we're back. So now that I'm in here, let's see if we can select that first selection again, and there it is. Now you'll notice that down here at the bottom it says that this fur description uses baldness noise with a very low frequency value to create big patches of grass. Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, in this case, it means that there's a lot of noise added to this grass, and that the only way that you can correct this is to sort of scroll down here in your attributes, and we're interested in this baldness attribute right here. And you'll notice that the noise amplitude is set to like 0.500 right here. Well, watch what happens when you drag that down, and now we take away the noise from there. Basically it got rid of that unwanted stuff, so to speak, because it was just based on a larger pattern. So anyway, pretty simple. That's it. Okay, so there we go. We've got that grass covered. Now let's take a little spin around and see what it looks like. Okay, it looks pretty good. We've got lots of grass going on there, but you know, we may want to change up a couple of things on this grass. If we go ahead and select that description right there and come up into our main attributes up here, you know, you can always play around with the length. You know, you can play around with your length. You can play around with your colors. The baldness attribute is pretty much set right now because that's what we've been working with. And, you know, you can kind of mess with it. It's kind of cool to add just a little bit of scraggle to it and maybe just a little bit of clumping. You know, but play around with those and do some renders and see what everything looks like. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick render right here. Okay, so you can see where we have our first grass started. Well, that's cool. Now, let's do this. Let's look at this plane. We don't really need this grass, you know, image underneath there anymore. And it's really easy to take care of. You can just assign it a different Lambert, or in this case, I could just come over here and grab my nodes right there, and I can hit delete. And there it is. And because this grass is baked on, it's not going anywhere, so we're pretty much good to go. Let's see if I can take a high view there. It looks like grass, and let's select it, and let's actually bring it down a little bit. I'm going to take this length down, and I think what I might do with this grass is add a bit more density. You'll be working with density a lot, so you know, just be aware that density is always going to be something you gotta work with. So now that I brought the density up a little bit, I'll sort of look and see what you know, see what a render looks like, and there it is. It looks a lot better. So, all right, now we're going to do one more thing. We're going to take this plane and we're going to assign it. We're also going to assign it a fur description, but instead of, you know, doing the grass cover, which is what we just did, we're going to create a new one, and there they are. Okay, so here's our new fur description, which I'll just call, say, maybe like grass 2 or something like that. And you'll see where it says fur description 1 because we haven't given it a name, and I think we'll just call this grass 2 or something. All right, and there it is. And in this case, I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to use a preset. And what I want to do is come over here and do, say, maybe 512, do 512, and we'll take a quick render and see what it looks like. Okay, so now I have some grass there. Well, first thing I'll do is maybe come back over into this, the other fur selection, into this fur. Let's see if I can grab one of those. Sometimes you need to come up and you know, maybe find a way to select that fur description. That's my original, and I may take this length up a little bit, and I might you know, let's see here. I might yeah, we'll just bring it up above whatever we're doing there. All right. And then I'm going to take this grass, select it, and I think I'll bring this length down quite a bit. So there we go. I'm going to give it a lot more density as well. So I'll put in a couple of zeros there. And let's see here. Let's do a quick render. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of grass. Now, the next thing you want to maybe look at is that it starts out pretty thick. So you have a base width and you have a tip width, and generally maybe a base width of something, say, like 0.09, and maybe a tip width of 0.03. Let's see, 0.03. And that'll kind of thin that out a bit. And I'll take a quick render, show you what we're at. Okay, so let's see here. Now all we need to do is assign some color and some other stuff to this. So I'll go ahead and take this base color and we'll just give it like a different color of dark green or something. And we'll give the tip color something more like a, just sort of a color in there. I don't know, we just want a couple of different colors. So I'll do a quick render. Okay, so there we go. We're starting to get there now. It'll take a bit of fooling around with the, you know, your various looks and things that you want. And you can also, like on this new grass too, the fur feedback shape. Right now I only have 32 samples set. I want to make sure I always keep that in mind as to what my feedback is looking like. So I'll just up those a bit so I can see a bit more of what's going on. And it won't affect what's happening inside of your actual properties of this. Yeah, it won't affect this, what you've assigned to here. So there we go. Now I'm going to take a quick overview, see what it's looking like. All right, and there it is. Oh, I'm in Mental Ray right now. I don't know how that got switched over, so we'll go back to Maya software. All right, and then all you have to do is remember that this surface over here can be assigned something else. Like if we want to give this a under surface kind of quality, like a color or something like that, you can select your plane and go into your hypershade and just go ahead and maybe make a new Lambert. And you might want to put like a 2D texture on it, like a fractal or something like that. So you could go over here and create a fractal, and then just bring your nodes over here and drag and drop middle mouse button and drop it on there, and go in and put that on your bump, and then go into your fractal, or your color attribute of your Lambert, and maybe set it to something that's like earthy, an earthy color. All right, now that we got that happening, all I got to do is just make sure I assign it, and that's that. So if I come in here and assign this like existing material, that Lambert 3, that's what we just did. And now if I did something right, it should look a little bit better. But you get the idea. That's kind of like working with what's going on there. And there's also one other thing you need to know about this, is that we don't have any lights going on here. So you may want to adjust your colors and everything once you have your lighting set up. And also editing, like say your other example, like if I click on this grass from this grass number 2, all right, I may want to edit this map as well. So I might want to come up here and let's say I want to sort of trim around the edges and stuff like that. I'd want to go up into my fur, and I'd want to go ahead and paint fur attributes tool, and I want to click on there and my tool settings and here, and I want to make sure that I'm dealing with baldness and that my grass is my grass number 2, and now I'm good to go. So all I need to do is choose a brush and maybe paint a negative value over some of this grass. So I don't really have a very big radius, if none at all, so I think I'll put some radius on there, and I'm going to bring that over, and we're painting with a negative value, all right, all the way down to 0, because we're erasing basically. So I'll go ahead and erase some of this stuff back here and maybe around the corners, and just sort of work that brush around. Now, if you're not seeing what you think you should be seeing, you may want to always make sure you got color feedback checked, okay? That'll just let you see kind of what you're doing over here. So now that I got that, we'll do another quick render and see what happens. Okay, so it'll take quite a bit of work in order to get this grass set up right, but you get the basic idea. And that's kind of what we're after here, is just being able to use an image to use that grass preset. So, all right, there you go. Got it all out. I hope I didn't bore you, and I hope you're making some grass. All right, so thanks for watching. Be a good person, read a book, and yeah, be kind to your neighbor. All right, thanks for watching.